Steffan. This is the MK8 GTI, so it's the generation newer than mine. This is also the Autobahn, so this is the fully loaded highest trim version. What do you think of this interior? Because considering that we spent the entire day basically in my GTI, we had to film Cars and Fuel earlier.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time in my car. How do you feel about this interior compared to my generation? I want your perspective, not just my biased personal opinion.
I don't think it's going to age as gracefully.
Yep.
I don't hate it. I do think things are laid out in a reasonable way, but capacitive buttons everywhere.
This is all also I noticed is a harder material than in my car as well.
Yeah.
There's also stuff like we couldn't figure out what this slot is for. It's not for your phone because that would go here. So this is like a piece of celery, maybe.
It's where you keep your pen.
Yeah,
so when you go to the bank and deposit.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's also this cup holder thing which does this, which I don't.
Oh, it's to hold. If you have a smaller drink, I don't know how to get it back, but if you have a smaller drink in here that doesn't quite fit there, this will kind of hold that in place.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things in here to just. Does this even open? Oh, it does. Thank goodness.
Oh, there's a crown in there.
Yeah, there's a crown in here, but there's just so many little details in here that don't make sense. Again, this doesn't light up at night, so you won't be able to see how you're going to adjust your temp.
Oh no, you're right.
Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah.
I do like that they've managed to retain a lot of interior character, though. Like, you know, we don't have the. I don't know if they still make them with the plaid seats, but they do have this nice
the cloth one would be plaid,
gray, red. Like, it just brings a lot of character to a small hatch, which you don't often get these days. But these touch controls need to die.
I just don't understand why the defrosters are over there. But yeah, the overall sense of quality is far lower in this car than mine. It's even like this textured plastic doesn't quite make sense, and it's just it feels like, again, it's the gimmick thing, right? We're all about making gimmicks nowadays, rather than bringing any actual value to cars.
I will say though, from like an ergonomics perspective, I think it's still fine. I can reach everything easily. Again, like I'm not going to keep hammering on that, but I think from an ergonomics perspective, I do still think this is well thought out and well laid out.
Yeah.
For a modern car that's trying to switch over to that styling.
Yeah, but that's before we talk about this stuff.
Yeah, this is dumb and terrible.
There's one more thing I'll show you in the trunk here, which I saw in someone's video, and I'll never forget about it. In Europe, you're required to have reflectors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that would go right here. In the US, you don't. And instead of covering it up, they just kind of left this open like this. This is from the factory in the US. This is what they...
Perfect.
Right? Like, this is the type of cost cutting we were talking about, right? Like, it's the same platform as mine, so it's still NQB platform, so it still drives reasonably well. But I spent $1 billion in R&D on this car, and do you know what they spent it on? How to make it be more cost effective to produce. They didn't spend it on chassis development or anything like that. It was €1 billion in developing it to try to make it less expensive to produce, which is kind of sad to think about.
That's heavy. Manufacturers don't learn.
Dude, mine has gas struts. I don't have to use a hood.
Well, cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
And technically more reliable, honestly. Like,
that's true.
I got no problem. Of all the things to get hung up on, that is one that I won't gripe too much about.
Oh, this has the light bar. The higher end model has the light bar right here. So we talked about the whole steering wheel thing. This is the GLI, which is actually still based on the Mark 7 Golf platform, which had all the physical buttons and knobs and stuff. But when they facelifted it, they put the capacitive steering wheel in this car, so they removed like the. And actually, that's something that we noticed as well. If you look at the Tiguan and whatnot, they used to have physical buttons, and then they facelifted it and added the haptic controls in. They facelifted and made it worse. I don't understand.
Thankfully, they're going back. They've learned.
Well, we'll see. That's going to take another model year or two, right? Something that I've noticed, like being at the auto show and like kind of observing how other people like take in interiors and stuff. It all makes sense why everyone's going towards touchscreens and stuff. Because as soon as someone gets into a car, it has like, the digital cockpit and like touchscreen this, touchscreen that. Everyone immediately thinks it's like the most amazing interior ever.
It gets your attention.
It gets your attention. It's just, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
It's tough coming at it from a car enthusiast perspective and kind of seeing like the general market, because that's what's going to dictate what decisions they're going to make, right? Is what the general market likes.
Yeah.
And they like shiny touchscreen things, and so.
Someone's got to save consumers from themselves.
Yeah.